All right, let's get over to this screen. And get ready to check this out. All right. Delusional. Steven Crowder continues losing it over Candace Owens. The disturbing illusion, and this is Brian. That's his name on the screen. We're gonna listen to what he has to say about this whole situation and give us the news. Give us the tea. Tell us what's happening.
In your life, have you ever had a friend or acquaintance or a family member come to you upset and frustrated because they think that you said something that wasn't right, but they're not saying this because they actually heard you say this thing, but because somebody else said that you said this thing that's really frustrating them and making them mad? Well, that's not what's happening with Steven Crowder. Nobody told Steven Crowder that Candace Owens said or implied that Erica Kirk had something to do with Charlie Kirk's murder. Steven Crowder is just making this up out of his own head. And rather than just telling a few friends, he's telling his entire audience. And a lot of the people in that audience are actually believing that Candace Owens said something or implied something that she never said or implied. Now, I don't have a dog in this fight because I'm not a statist. Steven Crowder is a statist. I also got a problem with Candace Owens. She's a statist. Both Steven Crowder and Candace Owens have lived their entire lives online trying to sell you on the idea how good it is to get involved in politics as long as it's rightist politics. Now, I know Candace Owens has backed off on this a little bit, but, you know, they're still statists, and statism is a cancer.
Right, and you had to comprehend, Brian, that that's all following. Like, I'm reacting to your videos because I know you have the potential to maybe come across my video and see it and recognize, hey, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about that's been putting comments in my chat, in my videos for over a year now. Like, think about this, Brian. The whole system, duality, is a false mental state that all of us put ourselves in a long time ago through language manipulation. This is already proven, and it will continue to be proven until everyone knows it's already proven.
Because it gets people to believe in the idea of authority that...
See right there how Brian said believe? The reason why he says that is because he does not comprehend language manipulation, and that there are two other options beyond belief. Yet 99% of the world almost still operate, well, I wouldn't say 99%, I would say 90% of the world still operates on belief structures that are based on lies, that are based on language manipulation, that's based on mental control and mental enslavement.
Other people have the right to rob and rule the rest of us, and that you and I have the obligation to obey those robbers and rulers lest we be punished. So I got a serious problem with that. But here's another level to this psychological operation, and it's that Steven Crowder is laying down a psyop and is actually working on the minds of the masses, specifically the people in his audience, to believe something that is patently false. This guy literally says, quote, "To all Candace Owens supporters, how disgusting do you have to be to accuse the wife of a man who was shot and killed of planning it or having any part in it? I'm completely fed up with her. Hey, could you give us a little bit of a lead on this, Steven? Could you give us some video clips on where Candace Owens actually said this or implied this? I played the other day a clip that he had provided, and nowhere in that clip does she say or even imply or come close to implying that Erica Kirk had something to do.
I'm sure you've all seen the video already of her talking about who she thinks is involved
with Charlie.
It was not Erica Kirk, by the way.
Kirk's murder. Now, could she have? Of course she could have. Neither I nor you nor Steven Crowder knows if this is true or not. Is it possible she had nothing to do with it? Of course it's possible. Things are looking a little weird. I mean, Mikey seems pretty happy. Frank Turek seems really happy. Erica Kirk is the most happy widow in America today. Something's really up with that. They're making bank off of Charlie Kirk's death by selling Charlie Kirk shirts. That's a little weird. If my wife...
Yeah, it is a little weird. Like, why would you want to be in the public at all after such a tragedy happened to you personally? Like, how would you even want to go outside, do the groceries, pay the bills? Why would you want to do anything right then? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like her resilience to that tragedy makes no sense for the biology that should be taking place in her body.
Was doing that after my death, maybe, ask some questions. One of the biggest things I got a problem with is that everybody at TPUSA, including Mikey McCoy, Frank Turek, Andrew Colvett, and Erica Kirk, are pushing out the government's official story that there's just a lone gunman. It was Tyler Robinson. He did it with a bolt action 30-06, and Charlie Kirk's neck was the Man of Steel neck and stopped that bullet dead in his tracks, thereby saving everybody else behind him. Even in death, he was saving lives. Knowing the history of the government and how badly they've lied to us and all the evil that came from that, how can anybody sit there?
Once again, see how I told you Brian doesn't comprehend that he's stuck in the left-right paradigm while trying to expose the left-right paradigm. Evil as such does not nor cannot exist in an instance where everything is created through us. So what he considers evil could be considered good to someone else. The spider and the fly have two different perspectives on what's good and what's bad. Do you see what I'm saying? For the fly, the spider is bad. For the spider, the fly is good. You see what I'm saying? Like, the fly getting stuck is bad. The fly getting stuck for the spider is good. So you see what I mean? Hence why everyone needs to get on the same page
and promote the government's official story, especially as it pertains to the death of your loved one. So I want you to listen to Steven Crowder continue to make crap up.
Well, Charlie's wife, Erica Kirk, who has now been put, Candace, with that language, with this accusation, has put the wife of Charlie Kirk, and she'll say, that's not what I tried to do. It is.
Quote it. Quote it. Give us the direct quote, Steve. Give us the direct quote. Otherwise, you're just pulling this out of your ass and you are a freaking liar.
It's the result.
Again, right here. Brian doesn't comprehend. Everyone is a liar because everyone has been currently telling themselves the place we live exists and is real. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I was a liar. Now I'm not. I comprehend that where I exist is based on lies. And so the lies are considered truth here, and truth is considered lies here because it's an inverse, because it was built on lies. And so the lies have to be perceived as the truth in order for it to stay stable.
Erica Kirk in the crosshairs. It's not like you have to look through 6 degrees of separation. And you can see post after post and article after article with both Kirks, but certainly Erica praising, thanking President Trump, discussing how important his support has been. So if the Trump administration, if the Fed killed Charlie Kirk, look, there's no middle ground here right now. Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil.
That's it. It can only be those two things. That's what Steven Crowder wants to do. He wants to relegate you to a box.
So do you, Brian. That's what I'm trying to say to everybody. Everyone's stuck in these dualistic boxes, and none of them are. They're all based on your mental control.
A box with only two things in it. You can only think about these two things.
There's only good and evil.
These are the only options that you get.
Yet I just proposed a whole nother option showing how good and evil is perspective, and therefore not a good way to judge reality.
Sounds like a psychopathic political parasite to me.
I hope I'm being really clear about that. And
You are being clear. What you're not being clear about is where Candace Owens implied that Erica Kirk murdered Charlie Kirk.
I still agree that nowhere has Candace Owen implied that Erica Kirk had anything to do with the murder. She was talking about the feds. And that didn't even imply Trump. That implied the feds, which is its own entity unto itself.
Had something to do with it. You're not being very clear about that. You're just lying.
saying, well, we shouldn't connect all the dots just is not an excuse when there is a grieving family right now who's not just left holding the bag.
Grieving family making a bag. They ain't holding no bag. They making a bag.
But you know very well, this will put Erica Kirk in the crosshairs.
She could be in danger, so you can't ask any questions. You can't think outside the box. You have got to completely stay with the FBI's government official story. You start asking questions, then I'm going to have to be forced to start making things up, which is exactly what Steven Crowder is doing, because he's got no ground to stand on with this accusation toward Candace Owens. So hypocritically, he's being as unfair to Candace Owens as he imagines Candace Owens is being to Erica Kirk.
Let me ask you this. If you were killed and someone out there for clicks, clickbait, headlines.
Brian, you gotta make, if you're switching all these screens, bro, you gotta make sure everything's the right size.
Went out and espoused conspiracy theories with...
I don't know what I'm doing though, so you're doing much better than me.
Zero evidence that put your wife or your husband in the crosshairs, where you knew after you had passed that the person you love was going to have to deal with fallout and accusations of killing you and villainized. It'd probably be as close to coming back as a haunting as you could possibly hope for, right?
This is predicated on the fiction that Candace Owens implied that Erica Kirk had something to do with the murder of Charlie Kirk, and it's just not true.
Either Erica Kirk is in on this, and just to be clear, that's obviously rhetoric. Of course she's not.
Of course you mean she couldn't possibly be? You mean we can't say
not impossible.
Hey, who
Erica Kirk
benefits
could
here? Because she's going to
be
greatly
part
benefit.
of it.
And by the way, we're not just talking about some poor widow somewhere living in a trailer getting blistered with all these conspiracy theories. We're talking about somebody who's an insider, who has the red carpet treatment for the White House, who's best friends with the wife of the vice president, who's good friends with the president of the United States. This woman lives in a bubble in her $5.5 million house with her tens of millions of dollars in the bank account, with the juggernaut
more,
of
even making
TPUSA
more.
completely behind her. We're not just talking about your regular Joe Blow American. You don't know what the truth is about her and Charlie Kirk's relationship. You don't know if she had something to do with it or not. And for you to claim that she didn't means you have to bring forward your evidence to prove your claim, because things are looking really weird.
And of course, there's no evidence that she was. And if
There's no evidence that she wasn't. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that looks really, really weird. And a lot of people are asking some very serious questions. How could you act like that 2 days after his death, 11 days after his death? How could you guys be doing what you did over at the TPUSA Charlie Kirk Memorial, geo-tracking 277,000 people who didn't give consent to have their private information peered into? TPUSA is a financial and political juggernaut. There's a lot at stake and a lot to be gained by taking that guy out of the way. And TPUSA hasn't stopped growing. It hasn't atrophied. It's exponentially increased. Everybody's talking about Charlie Kirk. Everybody's watching his videos. A lot of people are buying his merch. TPUSA and Erica Kirk have benefited greatly
Actually, real quick, hold on.
through Charlie's death.
Let's see. Can you give me a rough estimate of how much money was made from merch of Charlie Kirk's memorial. While exact figures of the revenue generated from merchandise honoring Charlie Kirk are not publicly available, several indicators suggest the sales were significant. Wait a second, they don't have to disclose this? Turning Point's official, USA's official merchandise. Turning Point's reported a surge in support following its session, including increased merchandise sales. The organization experienced high demand for commemorative items launched to honor Kirk's life and legacy. Additionally, Kirk's books charted in Amazon's top 20 and his podcast soared to #1 position in multiple categories, indicating a broader spike in interest and engagement. Independent merch. In the wake of Charlie's, numerous independent sellers flooded social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, with memorial merchandise brands such as the memorial service held at State Farm going down Arizona drew to 100,000 mourners, far exceeding its 63,000 seat capacity. Attendees began querying before dawn. When traveling from out of state, the event featured Christian worship performances, was attended by notable public political figures, including President Trump, blah, blah, blah. While precise revenue figures are not publicly disclosed, the combined TV report surge in merchandise sales, the proliferation of independent sellers capitalizing on the event, and the mass turnout at the memorial service all point to a significant. Yeah. If you had to give a number. So. In summary, while precise figures are not available, the combination of the reported sales, independent sales contributors, event-based sales suggest that the total revenue for Charlie Kirk's memorial merchandise likely exceeds $10 million. $10 million for his fucking memorial, bro, they made.
My question, Stephen, is why aren't you asking questions? Why aren't you turning over rocks? Why aren't you getting interviews? God knows you got the political pull and power.
Of course, there will be some very unstable people, which is by design from Candace, who will accuse me of being paid by the Trump administration or Mossad or whatever it is. Insert all the crap here. Either Erica Kirk is evil.
Keep that in mind.
And conspired with the Trump administration to kill her husband, Charlie Kirk, to assassinate him in cold blood, or Candace Owens has officially crossed the Rubicon to evil.
That's it. You only get two choices as far as
evil
Louder with Crowder is concerned.
Tell me if you disagree, and we'll take your chat on it.
I disagree.
Later. But those are my initial thoughts. And I'm going to call it, going to weasel out. And I didn't say that, and I didn't imply that, and we're just asking questions. You need to do better. One final thing. People have talked about this. Is it true? Is it not? Is that actually the PSYOP where the left has wanted to drive a wedge?
Oh, you want to see a PSYOP? This is a PSYOP.
The whole thing is a PSYOP.
Between those on the right? Do you think that fracturing those on the right over a baseless conspiracy that the most effective president in modern American history,
not the most effective president,
killed one of the most effective public figures in modern American history?
And she never said Trump had anything to do with it.
Happens to be very close with a supportive president.
The right is a PSYOP, and there is no fracturing happening. As a matter of fact, what has happened with the Charlie Kirk thing has served to strengthen the PSYOP. That's the PSYOP. You want a PSYOP? Statism is one of the biggest PSYOPs, and you, Stephen Crowder, have been and continue to play.
Comprehend, religion is a bigger PSYOP than statism. And yet, see, because Brian is so focused on statism, he forgets that before statism was religious traditions. that are also based on lies and dualism and the same dualistic psyop.
Into it. You're actually a social engineer of sorts. You're a psychological operator because you promote the poison of politics.
Everyone's a psychological operator. You are the one creating the very reality one exists in.
And politics is the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering, which is exactly what you do.
And you can say the same thing about religion.
In order to dupe average people into consenting and accepting and demanding the chains of their own enslavement. That is the psyop.
I couldn't think of a more effective wedge issue. So either way, if it's stupidity or it's proactive evil, you must do better, sweetheart.
Question for the crew. What can we say to the people who listen to Candace and believe her? It feels like talking to a leftist at this point, and I'm not sure how we can break through to them.
It does.
No, they're in chat. Good luck.
Some of them are.
So the same Steven Crowder who said this.
And of course, there will be some very unstable people, which is by design from Candace, who will accuse me of being paid by the Trump administration or Mossad or whatever it is.
Unstable people will accuse him of being paid by the Trump administration or Mossad. But Steven Crowder, who implies that he's the stable one, chooses to say this.
What can we say to the people who listen to Candace and believe her? It feels like talking to a leftist at this point, and I'm not sure how we can break through to them.
It does.
No, they're in chat. Good luck.
Some of them are.
It feels like we're talking to a leftist when we're dealing with people who believe what Candace is saying, which is not what Candace has actually said. So once again, Steven Crowder, who's very good at this, falls into the trap.
This
of
is
his
only
own
going to get more
hypocrisy.
crazy, Brian. And everyone else that may be listening to this or might listen to this. Like it's about to get a whole... You comprehend almost 50% of the population in the United States did not vote at all for either side. Comprehend that statistical number is being left out of your preview, because if you register that, holy shit, almost half of all the available people to vote in the country didn't vote because we're sick of the left-right bullshit, and you're all fucking crazy psychopaths, bro, that are stuck in a psychosis, bro. You're in mass hysteria, bro.
Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below.
Oh yeah, he always puts global thought police. Like, see, I comprehend him saying everyone's a police, thought police, is defeating his whole purpose. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not a thought police. I'm not in control of thought or others' thought. I am explaining truth of reality. That is factual. Has nothing to do with controlling thoughts. Do you see what I mean? Yet he's gonna say I'm a thought police in his video, and he says that to about everyone in all his videos. He doesn't comprehend what he's saying right there. Still, anyways, it was a very good video. Go give him a like if you like his content too. Comprehend. I'm sure no one's gonna like my content because I'm telling you guys you're all insane and ignorant and living in a false mental reality.